But hold on a second. Are there really planets, though? Of course, I know officially there is. But are there? Because last I checked, it's interesting that somehow the Bible forgot to mention when the creation of the earth happened. Sun, moon, stars, firmament. Um, Forgot to mention the billions and billions of other planets that were made. And also, it's interesting, when it was done making sun, moon, stars, earth, firmament, realm, boom, bang, bing, it was done. But the other story we're hearing is that the universe is constantly expanding and making new planets and galaxies at light years away. Really, though? Whatever happened to Stanley Kubrick, anyway? You seen any of his movies? Pretty shocking. Specifically, Mr. The Shining. Do you remember that? Hold on. You guys, please, you know about The Shining and the Apollo references in that movie, right? You got to go search up Stanley Kubrick, Shining, Apollo thing. And there's a couple even documentaries on the dissection of the Apollo reference and what was really trying to be said. Was there a mysterious symbolism and thing that he was trying to get across? And then, of course, we have Eyes Wide Shut. I won't even bring up that one. The ending, if you know the ending, that's another rabbit hole. But anyway, my point is, space, planets, is there a rover on Mars? These are the questions I'm asking myself. What do you think? Is there a rover on Mars? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.
I mean, he is not wrong. There's nowhere in the Bible where it really describes God creating planets. And as far as I can find, there's only a couple of places where the word worlds is referenced. And that's in Hebrews 11:3 and Hebrews 1:2. And in Hebrews 11:3, it just notes that the worlds were framed by the word of God. I mean, you can take that for what you will, but it doesn't necessarily mean the creation of planets. It could just stand for he created the heavens and the earth. It really all falls down into what you believe in on this one, I would say. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments. It'll be really interesting to see what you have to say.
Here we are again, guys, and I'm talking about Skinwalker Ranch, and there is a reason I am. Nobody is talking about it anymore. Look, it is one of the most phenomenal places on the planet, on this whole earth. And look, George Knapp has covered it. He wrote a book about it, and when he did, the government started investigating Skinwalker Ranch. Robert Bigelow came into the picture. He bought the place, then Brad Fugel bought it from him. This place is happening like there's nothing else on this in this world that's going on like this place. I'm just telling you that it's got it going on. The thing about it is sometimes people believe it's demonic, and it could be. This goes to the whole thing we're talking about with UFOs and aliens, because people are saying they are demonic. But listen to what George Knapp has to say.
You know, the vice president recently said, he was asked about UFOs, he says he thinks they're demonic. And that's interesting as it relates to the ranch, because the OSAP program, the DIA investigation, it lasted 27 months. And one of the reasons that it got nixed and the budget got pulled is because some higher ups in the Pentagon and these intelligence agencies felt that what was being studied there was demonic, and that messing with demonic forces invites all kinds of trouble. You said that it might be demonic. In what sense do you think what you've seen there or what your team has experienced might fall into that category?
Well, there's definitely a spiritual aspect to what is happening on the ranch, and consciousness plays a key role there. I mean, we've had spiritual leaders, everyone from Native American shaman that have conducted work on the ranch, that have helped us better understand or document the phenomena. We've also had a rabbi.
Okay, so I know you guys might be getting tired of watching me talk about Skinwalker Ranch, but look, somebody needs to bring it up, because we want to know what's truly going on, because this is one of the biggest portals on this planet. For alien activity, paranormal activity, skinwalkers, whatever you want to call them, demons, angels, all of the above. Interdimensional, extra-dimensional, multi-dimensional, outer-dimensional, all of the dimensionals. Look, leave your comments, let me know what you think.
It really does seem like a lot of people are starting to talk less about Skinwalker Ranch. A couple of years ago, it was all of the talk, at least in the realm of conspiracy and creepy videos floating around online. I mean, Skinwalker Ranch was how you basically started a YouTube channel a couple of years ago. I mean, I don't know why it's been left behind. Maybe it's because of all of the UFO, UAP disclosure information that's been floating around for the past couple of years, I guess. But it does make me wonder, why has all the attention really gone away from Skinwalker Ranch? Could there possibly be some paranormal anomalies happening out there, and the government and military was like, yeah, we gotta take people's attention away from that disclosure time? It makes you think a little bit. Also, for anyone wondering what really starts a YouTube channel off nowadays, as far as if you want your channel to really grow, the best topic to react to at the moment: politics. That is the biggest thing. YouTube has been pushing and forcing political content my way, and it's so apparent that that's just what the internet wants people to react to or have opinions about currently. That's what you want to react to if you're getting into the YouTube scene. In my opinion, anyways. I'm not about the political scene. I like this kind of content, but that is the scene that's starting YouTube careers, if you will. Just a FYI.
We know of about 6,300 planets outside our solar system, but NASA is about to launch a telescope expected to find 100,000 more. It's the Nancy Grace Roman Space Telescope, and NASA launches it on August 30th aboard a SpaceX Falcon Heavy. It's got a mirror about the same size as Hubble's, but its field of view is roughly 100 times larger. So scientists expect it to uncover around 100,000 planets crossing in front of their stars, plus thousands more using gravitational microlensing. And Roman carries something called a coronagraph, and that blocks the overwhelming light from a star, which will allow Roman to directly photograph some planets and the material surrounding. The question has always been, are we alone? Roman isn't designed to find aliens, but it's about to dramatically increase the number of worlds we know are out there. So when Roman launches August 30th, we're not launching a UFO detector, we're launching something potentially much more important. A better map of where life could be hiding. Make sure to subscribe to Mostly True Alien Stories on YouTube. Until then, is this a mostly true alien story or not?
Great. Now we have another really expensive piece of equipment to get an even higher definition picture of the pillars of creation. Whoopee! I mean, all sarcasm aside, I mean, it's cool that we can get these photos of space. Do I think it's worth the billions upon billions of dollars that it costs to actually get this equipment going? No. I mean, if those photos are real, that's neat looking, but I remember when the Pillars of Creation first came out and people started crying over it because they just couldn't fathom how beautiful it was. I mean, it just looks like something that I could render in Photoshop. I mean, I get that it's cool looking and that it's like mind-blowing that there's all this interstellar gas and dust out there that forms all these shapes. But it's, to me, not worth spending that much money on that kind of equipment when we could be spending that kind of money here on Earth to better our planet where it currently stands. Now, is it nice to see if there's possible life out there somewhere in the distance? Yeah, when we have ourselves situated first. That's just what kind of upsets me about it all. I'm not trying to be bitter about it. I just don't see the necessary cause for this yet. Let's get ourselves situated and invest all of that money fixing our planet where it currently stands. And then once we have everything all fixed and well, we can start doing this kind of stuff. But until then, as I continue to see our planet fall into pieces, it just looks like a big advertisement tactic just to get people to invest into their company and to have an excuse to keep making money when it's not relevant to do so. That's the way I see it. I'll quit the rant there. Sorry about that. Let me know your thoughts and opinions about all this. Hey, if you're new here, I would like to welcome you to the channel. My name is Dominic, and I upload videos like this Monday through Friday, early in the morning. So if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, and if you want to see more like it, please subscribe. And for everyone that's made it this far, thank you so much for supporting the channel.
Here's more things I want to know. I want to know about the citadel in old Kandahar. So it's widely believed that Alexander the Great marched southeast with his army and laid out what is now Old Kandahar. This was after conquering Mundagak in 330 BC. Great success! They think it was chosen as a way to protect its inhabitants on multiple levels, including from sandstorms from the desert. But it's also suggested that the city was laid out during the Iron Age, so there's some discrepancies there with history. Go figure. It served as a local seat of power for many rulers over the course of 2,000 years. It became part of many empires. It was a part of controlling trade routes, yada, yada, yada. But the citadel, the old citadel, looks like it was melted. And if you've heard about meltology and structures that have been melted that don't look like structures anymore, but instead looking like melted rocks, they just happen to have some holes in it. People say, oh, look, they carved windows. No. This citadel is a good example, and it was melted beyond belief. On top, you can see some little pillars that still exist today. This is an 1881 photo showing the ruined old Kandahar citadel of Shah Hussein Hotak that was destroyed by the Afsharid forces of Nadir Shah Afshar in 1738. And this is the only old one I can find, and this photo is from 1881. But as you can see, this thing is hardly recognizable as being an ex-building, except on the top, you can see columns. So who really built this citadel? Was it Alexander the Great? Or was it built in the Iron Age by somebody else? Or someone else that is maybe, a bit bigger? Which leads me to the topic that I'm also interested in, the Kandahar giant. In 2002, it is stated that the military engaged with a red-haired giant in the mountains of Kandahar, hence the Kandahar giant. It apparently killed one of the soldiers, then the soldiers killed the giant. The military came in, extracted it, put it on a plane, and it disappeared. Of course, the military denies this, and I want to know, did they really kill a giant in Kandahar? And were there potential giants in Kandahar for Alexander the Great that built this citadel that got melted by something that was really, really hot? And as usual, I don't know, but I want to know. But what I really want to know is, when are these people on that list going to trial? Who's going to be convicted? And who's going to jail first here in America?
They definitely do look melted. Either that's what happened, or they were just very abstract with their creations. Basically, they were the Hilma af Klints and Picassos of their time.
There's a scientific paper that slipped under the radar, and it is pretty profound. So basically, when human cells are taken towards the International Space Station and are exposed to cosmic radiation in different environments, areas of our DNA that scientists for the longest time called junk DNA, they actually activate and switch on like a light switch, which is very interesting, right? Now, the Earth's magnetic field is getting weaker and weaker, and what does that actually mean? So the cosmic solar radiation is being able to penetrate our magnetic field, and it's now being more so exposed to the whole population of the planet. Now, if that is true, what does that leave? Our cells and our bodies open to more cosmic radiation coming in, and what does that do? Start to tinker with our junk genetic DNA, right? So if this is an area which is being activated, there are parts of it where cells could be damaged, and therefore your body's going over to it and trying to repair it, and some things can happen and be left as like scarred tissue in the DNA structure. But then also, what if this is also leading to a level of mutations on the general population that we don't really know or understand what's going on? Also, with the strange research that came out very recently of everyone on planet Earth has about 0.5% to 1.1% of a strange ghost DNA structure, which came from about 800,000 years ago, and they have no idea who or what these beings were, even if they were human. And some people on the planet have a super archaic lineage, which dates back to about 1.77 million years ago, which interbred with our species, and then they have no idea what they are, who they were, or where they come from, if they're even human to begin with. So we don't know. Big question mark. Now, if this is true, and we have this major exposure to our genetics, our DNA structures themselves, and maybe mutations are starting to happen, what would that have an effect on our species as a whole? And how does this all kind of play out? Because it kind of feels like that we may be a giant science experiment for the cosmos, that maybe there are some outside forces that are tinkering with our genetics and our DNA structures, and we are the result of a successful experiment. Now, we're going through the last stage of a strange cosmic activation from the sun. Now, if you're in a spiritual aspect as well, this all kind of coexists and co-aligns with everything that's happening on a cosmic level and a spiritual level for some. And it's all these different areas seem to be intersecting and interjecting right now. And also, I like to kind of think about that, although there are some sort of like evidence for people's encounters, to things being seen, to the government reporting on things not from this planet that seems to be visiting us. What if we do have a crypto-terrestrial species that does exist with us here on planet Earth? And they are the things that are rising in and out of the oceans, coming in and out of volcanic vents, maybe using the magma chambers underneath the volcanic vents to travel around under the Earth's surface and come out in different areas and use it as a transportation area. And also these areas near hanging out in big storms, for instance, or hanging out near giant earthquakes. These are areas that humans can't actively get near, so we are kind of out of bounds. So whatever does live there probably exists exist in these areas because we can't get to them. Now, if there was an advanced species as well, people having visitations, and pre-World War II, before we had any radar or anything of that nature, like, it was probably quite easy for a crypto-terrestrial species to actually exist and basically slip under the radar. And if they don't want humans to know that they exist, they probably would tell people that we are from a different planet, therefore so they can hide within the Earth itself, and we will be none the wiser looking outward into space trying to look for an advanced species or an advanced technological species without really paying attention to what we've got at home, because that means that they are under the radar and can probably hide a bit deeper as well. So I don't know. All these different angles seem to be interjecting, and there's a lot of stuff that's crossing over right now. You guys should check the paper out. It's pretty wild.
Very interesting, and it's also very interesting to me that scientists call this junk DNA. If I would have to use my smooth brain to work around it and what I would call it adaptive DNA. That could be a strand of DNA that adapts to the environment that you're around. Kind of like that one village that basically lives on the ocean. They can see underwater better than anyone else. They can hold their breath longer than anyone. What if that has something to do with that junk DNA that's actually adaptive DNA? I mean, that could be, again, a very smooth brain take. But hey, it's my smooth brain take.
These witnesses at the Mexico City Metro thought they were filming a massive rat, but watch as it runs down the tunnel.
Uy, la ratilla, no manches. Bien gorda. Ya se fue, ya se fue. Espérate. ¿Qué chingados es eso? ¿Qué? ¿Y esa madre? Ay, güey, ay, ay, ay.
Did you catch it? It appears to change into a human-shaped form and continue running down the dark tunnel. And people online are calling it something very specific, something native to that region as far as their myths and legends.
No mames, güey.
They call it a Nahul, from the Mesoamerican tradition, and it's associated with humans taking animal form. But we have to ask, is this real or is this AI? Watch it again and let us know what you think. Could this be the legendary Nahul, or is it some clever AI? Be sure to comment below.
Uy, la ratilla, no manches. Bien gorda. Ya se fue. Espérate. ¿Qué chingados es eso? ¿Qué? ¿Y esa madre? Ay, güey, ay, 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 ay. ¿Ya lo viste? No mames, güey.
I honestly cannot tell if this is AI generated or not. If it's AI generated, it's very well done. It could either be a real scenario where there was just a couple of people filming this and there was a giant rat running down the tracks, and maybe it was an optical illusion and that giant rat just went into the shadows and there was someone sitting down there for whatever reason, and they seen a big rat coming their way and they got up and started running. That's the only thing that I can think of if this was not AI. Or maybe that actually was a skinwalker or shapeshifter. Let me know what you guys think.
Researchers from Spain have released some groundwork that could help us achieve biohybrid singularity, and it really is quite compelling. As for singularity as a term, it means quite a few different things depending on what field you're coming out of. Most of it is for space, the inside of a black hole where it has infinite mass. It could also refer to the point at which AI becomes self-referential, reproduces, and eventually surpasses humanity. However, in this context, we're talking about the point at which technology and biology become inseparable, so we can have superhuman intelligence. This actually doesn't necessarily need to apply to humans specifically. It could also be for biohybrid machines, which we know I'm a fan of, but let's talk about it. We are already giving people technological upgrades, and they come in a few different forms. In fact, I have some. Got a metal plate and some screws in my hip and foot. But there also exist brain-computer interfaces, and these allow people to collaborate with a computer. They're largely call and response, they don't learn, although some models do have AI interfaces, so it can read a person's brainwaves and then perform an action, but that's not the only way that we could use it. Our authors introduced 3 models that we could use to integrate computers, one of which is adversarial. This is where the biology and the computer essentially have to fight for resources, and it's probably not the best way to do this, although it could lead to improvements. It's also sort of similar to what we have going on with AI right now in the worst misbehavior, where they're trying to accomplish a goal and are trying to get around us in order to accomplish that goal. The second model is collaboration, and this is really what we have for brain-computer interfaces. The computer or AI cannot act independently, it requires human feedback, and they work together. The third model that our authors propose is codependence. In this way, the human and the AI are reliant on each other for improvement. Neither one can act independently, and both of them improve over time. This one is really interesting because it also requires distributed computation, meaning the physical processes in the biological portion would become part of the calculation. That may sound like it's science fiction, but it's happening right now, and our technology is moving towards it when it comes to neuromorphic computers that are computers that look like a brain and they're designed to function like a brain. This can either be in the way that it processes information, which is really important because that makes it compatible with the way that we do, or it can be in the physical properties of the system themselves, and that is a physical reservoir computer, and it's one that I'm really interested in.
Yeah, you're into it now until one of these robots lobotomizes you and turns you into a servitor, and now you're just a slave to the system. It's all fun and games until that happens, and man, I hate when that happens.
On August 27th, a partial lunar eclipse is going to cover almost 97% of the moon. This one's actually going to look even more dramatic than a total eclipse because of one thing that totality cannot show you. So let's get into the details, locations, viewing times, and why it's going to be so dramatic looking. The greatest eclipse hits at 4:13 UTC. That's 9:13 p.m. Pacific, 12:13 a.m. Eastern, 96.3% of the moon buried in the shadow. The Americas will get the whole show. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be a high moon overhead. Europe will catch it at dawn, racing the horizon. Africa is going to be the best in the West. Senegal and Morocco will see it high. But the best odds anywhere in the whole world are going to be the Atacama Desert in Chile. This is over 90% clear. Now, let's talk about why it turns red. So the moon doesn't go black in the umbra because Earth's atmosphere still bends sunlight into that shadow. Every sunrise, every sunset on Earth happening at once, thrown onto the moon. Blue light scatters away, red and orange survive, and at 96.3% coverage, almost the entire whole disk turns a coppery blood red. So step outside on August 27th, no telescope needed, just clear skies and about 2 minutes for your eyes to adjust.
Hopefully it should be a fun little event. There should be no reason why I cannot see it, unless it storms, but let me know if any of you are actually going to go out and watch.
This McDonald's has been completely abandoned for 30 years, and you won't believe how people still live in this town. It even has its original menu intact with original pricing, $2.45 for a Big Mac. It even offers dino-sized fries as a promotion for Jurassic Park, the original one, along with Bobby's World Happy Meal toys. Shout out to the 1% that actually know what that is. Found on the tiny and super remote Alaskan Adak Island, which is literally closer to Tokyo than it is to Seattle. Once home to a peak of 6,000 people, today the island has a permanent population of about 150. What happened here? Adak Island served as a US Navy base during World War II and the Cold War. When the Soviet Union fell in 1991, plans to end operations began. Businesses slowly started shutting down as neighborhoods became deserted, leaving us with creepy, almost liminal spaces like this McDonald's that closed in 1993 and has been frozen in time ever since. Current residents have supplies shipped to them every week by plane, sold in a single grocery store inside of an old daycare center, only open for a couple hours on weekends. This is the only thing allowing them to keep living on Adak Island.
You know, it may sound strange, but that actually kind of sounds peaceful.
Why do so many people spontaneously wake up at 3:33 in the morning or somewhere in that period? And why? If you go outside at 3:33 in the morning, does reality feel so strange? Well, let's talk about it. This has been explained for centuries, a lot of times called like the witching hour and things like that. But what if it's more than that? What if it's actually a maintenance window for the simulator that we exist in? Think about it. I often describe reality as a simulator, and that it's an information processing system. And like any good information system, you have to have a maintenance window, and you don't like service a server at its peak time. You wait until most people are logged off, and then you do all the upgrades and all the maintenance that needs to be done. And if you think about how this world is structured, we have 8 billion people on Earth, and they're all conscious observers. They're all rendering their personal reality bubbles at all times through the waking day. But at night, something cool happens. And obviously everybody's night is different, but that's the beauty of it, is that we have this cascading downtime that happens every single day where millions or billions of conscious observers log off the system at roughly the same time. And that's a perfect window for the system to do its maintenance. And our brains do the same thing. All biological organisms do. And why would the Earth not be considered an intelligent biological system? It is. So it waits for that sleep period to do all the upgrades and things it needs to do. That's why a lot of times, like, you'll go to bed angry or confused, or you need help or answers, and then you wake up and all of a sudden you have clarity. You have the answers. It seems like new reality tunnels have been carved in your life, and it happened overnight. That's very interesting, right? Because that's exactly when an information processing system would do that type of work. It can't do it while you're awake because you're still co-creating that reality. Once you log off, then you kind of pass the ball to them and let them take over. So I think it's really fascinating because when you go outside at 3:33 in the morning, something really interesting happens. You feel like you're somewhere you're not supposed to be. It could be your neighborhood. You're there every single day, but it's like a liminal space kind of phenomenon. All of a sudden, everything is different. Same neighborhood, same reality, but completely altered. And you feel a lot of times like you're somewhere you're not supposed to be, almost like you're in a place and somebody doesn't want you to be there. And a lot of people describe like more paranormal type experiences and stuff at that time. And there's a good possibility that it's just simply because when all the conscious observers log off, then it loosens the rigidity of our reality, because we, through our conscious observation, are actually co-creating this reality, and we're establishing the rigid rule sets and structure of our reality. But when everyone logs off, it becomes more fluid. And that's why when you go outside at that time, it's like your reality, but altered. It's like almost like you're in a dream state, even though you're awake. Have you ever experienced this? Let me know. Have a beautiful day. Peace.
Now, I do not get very good sleep in the first place, but I do have my moments of dozing in and out. When I do that, it never fails for me to always wake up around 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I can never get back to sleep after that. And I will have to say that there is something strange about being somewhere that you're completely familiar with. For example, my property. I mean, I'm in my property all of the time, morning, day, and night. But there is a point in time where it does become unsettling. And that's not just for my property, that's anywhere that you're really familiar with. There is a moment in time, especially when it's really late past midnight, maybe 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, where you might be familiar with this place, but it does feel different. So yeah, I could say I've experienced that before.
A physicist says he hid a wooden spoon inside a box, asked AI what was inside, and the AI described the spoon. Physicist and consciousness researcher Tom Campbell described the experiment on Joe Rogan. He says the AI had no conventional way of knowing what he had hidden. The target was an unusual wooden spoon. Long handle, deep bowl, holes throughout the handle. And according to Campbell, the AI didn't just guess spoon. It reportedly described distinctive features of that specific spoon, including the holes in the handle. Now, Campbell thinks it could be something like remote viewing, accessing information about a hidden or distant target without using your normal senses. And yeah, the US government actually studied this. For decades, intelligence agencies investigated whether people could use remote viewing for espionage or even to find aliens on other planets. Now, whether humans can actually do it remains controversial, but Campbell is asking something even stranger. Could an AI do it? Now, let's be clear, this wasn't a published blinded scientific study. You can't rule out information leakage, coincidence, or other explanations. One spoon proves absolutely nothing, but this one's easy. Don't tell me AI can remote view. Show me. Line the experiment, put something else in the box, repeat it, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, I would have to agree with this guy. We would have to do many tests, and it would also have to be personal tests for me personally, because I want to ask it my own questions of what I put in the box. And still, even then, I would not even trust it, because we do have technology currently. I'm pretty certain it's Xfinity that's working on it, or it already has it in the works, where they can monitor you through Wi-Fi. So who's to say AI couldn't do the same, where it's actually just using Wi-Fi signal to find things in certain areas? That would really be my only guess as to how it guessed. I mean, I could be completely wrong. Let me know your thoughts and opinions. But I would have to see way more tests done on this to have any kind of validation. I mean, we already do not believe the people that say that they're remote viewers as is. Do you think we're really going to believe AI?
I feel happy. I feel healthy. I'm a human being.
Same here, man. Same here. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and end today's video. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching these clips with me. As usual, I feel happy, I feel healthy, I'm doing my best, and if today's your birthday, happy birthday, and if not, have a good day anyways.